Hey, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Yashamai from the JMS Atlanta camp. Before I get into this message, I want to start out by giving all praises, all glory, and all honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kadash, and I want to send double honors to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone. I was reading some scripture today, and I came across Wisdom of Solomon 17 and 17, which is one of the precepts that I'm going to get. But I was thinking about putting together a lesson on a common question, a common question that gets asked. I know when I came into the truth, this was something that was asked by some of my family members, and really it's a question that we ask too when we first come into the truth. And that is, well, what about the good white people? Are they going to be taken out too? And I came across a video that has a lot of parallels with these so-called whites. So let's go ahead and get it. Let's see.
You know what's crazy about the feral pigs in the United States? They were brought here by, I believe, Christopher Columbus, starting with 6 animals. Whoa. So the entire 200 million or whatever it is across the U.S., I don't know the number, it was like 6 or 8 or 10 original pigs that were brought in by Christopher Columbus and dropped in Florida.
That's insane.
You want to talk about how crazy they can reproduce and how much damage they do? Like the biomass of those animals stemming off of like 6 of them.
That's insane. And they're so tough, you can put them on a boat and they'll make it across the ocean.
Oh yeah, no, they're amazing, and they are terrible for the environment. Like they do so much damage to native species, to riparian habitat. I mean, like you said, we were talking about it out there briefly, and it's a good thing. People should realize that invasive species like that should not be in an ecosystem.
Well, they certainly shouldn't be in an ecosystem when there's no balance.
You know what's crazy about the feral pigs in the United States?
So the purpose of that video was to show that these people have to be treated as an invasive species, okay? Because let's get I'm gonna play it back and pause it, and then we're gonna get some scriptures on it, and we will see the parallels here.
They were brought here by, I believe, Christopher Columbus, starting with 6 animals. Whoa! So the entire
So he said that these pigs were brought here, and that they were never supposed to be here, man. And first scripture that I've got here is Micah 2:2, because just as these feral pigs were never supposed to be here, these so-called Edomites were never meant to be in position. You see, they already had Greece, they had Rome, but they still were not happy with what they had, right? And so I've got 2 scriptures here. This is Micah 2:2. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." These people, while they were over there in Spain, Christopher Columbus, he still wanted more land. And we know that he used the Apocrypha, 2 Ezra 13, to come over and chase down the other 10 tribes, man. They were never supposed to be here. They already had their land, but they still wanted more. And, as upsetting as it is, we know that, this is part of prophecy. This is Revelation 20, verse 3 says, "And cast him into the bottomless pit." So it's talking about the devil. It's talking about Esau, Edom. It says, "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season." So we know that even though, we don't want, even though the world is a worse off place because this man's in control, this is prophecy. For those 1,000 years during the Byzantine Empire, nobody paid this man any mind. But because we went off, he was loose for a little season, and his season, if you read the news headlines, his season is about to be up, right? Let's get back into that video, and then we'll pause it as it goes. Well, real quick too, I just want to make a little side point and say this. This invasive species was brought over by the original invasive species, Esau, Edom. So I kind of took some laughter in that because it's kind of ironic, man. But it just goes to show nothing good comes from this people. Nothing good.
200 million or whatever it is across the U.S. I don't know the number. It was like 6 or 8 or 10 original pigs that were brought in by Christopher Columbus and dropped in Florida.
That's insane.
You want to talk about how crazy they can reproduce and how much damage they do? Like, think of the biomass.
He said, do you want to think about how much damage that they can do? Let's take a look at the damage of this invasive species. I did a quick Google search. Just said, why can't you drink rainwater, right? And I remember when I first heard that several years ago, like, oh yeah, we're not supposed to drink rainwater. And I'm like, well, why is that? It's the purest form of water, right? It's coming from the earth. Well, check this out. It says, you generally shouldn't drink rainwater directly because it can contain harmful contaminants like bacteria, parasites, viruses, and chemicals picked up from the air as it falls, potentially making you sick. Furthermore, it says down here, it says right here, according to the CDC, it says once rainwater falls, chemicals like asbestos, lead, or copper can get into the water. You see, that man was talking about this invasive species, these swine, right? But check out the harm that Esau Edom has done, man. He's poisoned the air so much so you can't even drink rainwater, And so I bring that video up because how many videos do we see of these people taking out these feral pigs, right? YouTube allows videos of people in a helicopter shooting these pigs with an AR, and nobody bats an eye. Why? Because we've been made to understand through the media that these feral pigs have to go. So it's okay for us to fly above them in a fucking chopper and shoot them with the AR. That's okay. But when you mention something about the self-proclaimed white man, it's not okay. Well, why is it okay for this invasive species to continue, but the one that's done the most damage, you guys get weirded out whenever we mention it, right? But that's just the water. Really, that's just the air and the water because they're putting fluoride in the water too. You know what I mean? Let's see. Apart from the, still on the topic of taking a look at the damage that this man has done, this is the vaccine history, man. Because another thing that this man has damaged is he's damaged our bodies, man. We have forever chemicals in our bodies. The Most High, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, created us pure, man. And this motherfucker, through the DuPont family, put Teflon. And now we have forever chemicals. We have plastic inside of our bloodstream, man. But apart from that, every newborn baby, they're trying to prick them. So, and, I pull up the vaccine schedule so that we can see how much this fucker has, ramped things up. So in the late 1940s, there was 4 vaccines that were recommended. Smallpox, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. Now, check this one out. Then they added polio. Then they added polio, measles, mumps, and rubella. Then, 10 years later, they doubled the dose through DTP and MMR. Then, in the 1980s, they did the HIV. Then, in the mid-90s, they did hepatitis B. And then... Then they, in the 2000s, they introduced the rotavirus one, the hepatitis A, the pneumococcal, the influenza, the cellular pertussis vaccine, and then in the 2000s, they did varicella. In 2005, they did the pneumococcal and the influenza. So you guys see how as time progressed, these fuckers just kept ramping it up. Again, the rotavirus. Then they started to combine the combinations more. Now it's DTaP, MMR. Now we have, the the vid one, man. But I mean, think about the damage that this invasive species has done, right? And then this, apart from, poisoning our bodies, he's poisoning the food. This is ingredients that are banned in Europe and other parts of the world, but they're okay in America. So America allows titanium dioxide as a chemical that's added to foods, but we don't recognize it because it's usually hidden in nutrition labels. I mean, imagine that. Like, okay, so I do roofing. All right, if I tell somebody I'm going to put you up a black roof, right, and then I install a roof that's kind of grayish, somebody's going to call me out and say, hey, man, you told me a black roof. You didn't say anything about this. But these fuckers are hiding these deadly chemicals, man, and nobody bats an eye. Look at the damage that this invasive species has done, man. It says, or added color may mislead you into consuming titanium dioxide. How is that okay? How is it okay for the food companies to mislead the public into eating chemicals, but it's not okay for you to mislead the government when you do your taxes? How is that okay, man? Another one is brominated vegetable oil used in citrus flavored is banned in Japan, the European Union, and the UK, but the US may not be far behind. Like, I thought the US was supposed to be a global leader, man. Like, what's going on here? This guy has poisoned the water, the air, the food. And this is what he's got coming. This is Isaiah 14:6. It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. Because ultimately, this man's system is coming down. He's continually smote the earth, but more importantly, he's continually smote the Israelites, so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics. But this is the meat of what I'm trying to get. This is verse 7. It says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing, man, because a creation as a whole has also been taking a beating from this bastard, man. So again, it's a perfect parallel. They are an invasive species. Let's continue on.
Off like 6 of them.
That's insane. And they're so tough, you can put them on a boat and they'll make it across the ocean.
Oh yeah, no, they're amazing, and they are terrible for the environment. Like, they do so much damage to native species.
They're terrible to the environment. They do so much damage to native species. Just like this invasive species did damage to the so-called natives. Just like this invasive species did damage to the Southern Kingdom. Just like this invasive species did damage to the so-called Aztecs, man. They really are in. I mean, apart from doing damage to us, he even does damage to his own people, because all those vaccine schedules, all the poison food, all the poison water, his own people are dying, man. This is Ecclesiasticus 14:5. It says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods, man. Like, you see this man poisoning his own country, and you think that this other billionaire, Trump, is somehow different. This billionaire actually cares about me, man. Like, come on, man. He's not good to himself. You think he likes you? He doesn't even know that you exist, man. Let's continue on. I think we're going to wrap it up right here. Let's see here.
Riparian habitat. I mean, like you said, we were talking about it out there briefly, and it's a good thing. People should realize that invasive species like that should not be in an ecosystem.
Well, they certainly shouldn't be in an ecosystem when there's no balance.
You know what's crazy about...
He said people need to realize that this invasive species should not be here, man. This man is not supposed to be here. This man was put here as our judgment. This is Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomsoever he will, and sets up over it the basis of men. You see, you have the most simplest mother lover set up to rule this world, and it's all done by the Most High, man. You know, there's a scripture that says, save me from the wicked, which is your sword. This wicked bastard is judgment by the Most High because of our going off, man. But, you know, he's only here for a season. Just like we read in Revelations 20, right? He's only here for a season, man. Because his purpose ultimately is for the day of evil. This is Proverbs 16:4. The Most High, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, has made all things for himself. Yes, even the wicked for the day of evil. Just as he raised up Pharaoh for this very purpose, you know, he told Moses so that his name would be glorified, man. This man's only purpose in life, just like that Pharaoh pig, this man's only purpose in life is to be destroyed. And that's not me saying it, man. That's scripture saying it. You know, just as we were set up to rule, you know, Romans 9 talks about it. One vessel is made for glory, and then the other vessel is made for dishonor, man. Well, we are the vessels that are made for glory, and he's the one that is for the day of evil. So look, with this invasive species, with the parallel of the feral pig, can you let any of them live? No. Why? Because even though there may be some, you know, quotation mark innocent feral pigs, they're going to reproduce and they're going to have offspring, and then you'll have a bad, quotation marks, bad feral pig. So the answer is no. What are they doing? They're actually, the government is actually paying for your ammo, and it's a tax write-off for you to take out these feral pigs, man. All right? And so, look, all the feral pigs have to be taken out. All right, whatever. But this other invasive species has to be taken out. This is Wisdom of Solomon 17:17. It says, for whether he were a husbandman or shepherd or a laborer in the field, he was overtaken and endured that necessity which could not be avoided. This is talking about the judgment of the Egyptians, and we know that this is modern day Egypt, right? Double straits, for they were all bound with one chain of darkness. They were all the wicked. They were all set aside for the day of evil. And right here it says, and endured that necessity which could not be avoided. Just as you have to destroy these feral pigs, you cannot avoid the destruction of Esau, Edom, man. So look, I want to circle it back here to answer the question: is even my quotation mark good self-proclaimed white co-worker that always brings in cookies and coffee on Fridays, is she going to be destroyed? Scripture says, yeah. And endured that necessity which could not be avoided. There's no way around it. I hope this lesson has been edifying, and with that I say shalom.